welcome back to Historical Belle. Today we are not doing historical things. Today we are actually doing a very modern thing, and that is hemming a bridesmaid's dress. Lucky, have you ever been a bridesmaid? Okay, well one day you will. So one of my very bestest friends, Jess, asked me to be a bridesmaid in her wedding, and I am so honored to be in her wedding party, as she was in my wedding party just a year ago, just over a little bit of a year ago now. I am so excited to get to be in her wedding party and just cheer her on and her husband's big day. It is going to be an absolutely beautiful day. So she picked out these bridesmaid dresses for us. Well, actually, she picked out the color and the fabric, and then she let us pick the style. So all of the bridesmaids are going to have like slightly different style dresses, which is going to be absolutely lovely. Everyone picked beautiful things. So now I've been a bridesmaid twice before this, and the first dress that I got was a little long, but when I wore it with my shoes, it was fine. And then the second dress, it was just like perfect. I didn't have to do anything to that. But this dress is a little long, and it's still a little long with my shoes on. So I'm going to have to hem it. Now, a lot of the ways bridesmaid dresses are made, especially if you go to like a big place like David's Bridal or something, they make it really long, because it's impossible almost to nicely add fabric to a dress, but it's always possible to hem it. So a lot of times when you get any type of formal dress or bridesmaid's dress, they are going to come incredibly long, because they are trying to make sure that that really tall person who is also wearing this bridesmaid's dress still has the length for it without, well, them having to custom make a bunch of stuff, because these are all mass produced. Therefore, for a lot of us who are of average height or shorter, we're going to have to hem these dresses, even with our really tall heels. So let's put on this dress and start to see where exactly we need to hem. So this is such a beautiful bridesmaid's dress. I am so excited that she let us pick our styles, because I think this is lovely. And the fabric is a beautiful chiffon. So it's a chiffon over, and then kind of like this nice little like dull satiny under. And the fabric is very similar to the ones that I had for my bridesmaid dresses. Of course, mine were purple, because, well, it's my favorite color, purple. But Jess loves pink, and this is actually called Desert Coral. That's the official name of this color for the dress. But it's beautiful. It matches the venue. Well, not like matches, but it coordinates very well with the venue that we're at, and I am so excited. Just for the day in general. It's going to be so beautiful. But good gracious, like, I've never had a dress be this long before. And yeah, we're going to have to fix that, Lucky. We really are. Alright, so let's get the shoes on, because please, when you hem something, hem it to the shoes that you are wearing. You must wear the shoes you are going to wear to the event with that dress. Pick all your accessories now. You'll thank yourself later. And also the bride will. Do what the bride tells you. Wear the shoes that she wants. So, and put them on the exact dress that you are wearing when you are hemming this, because that is incredibly necessary. So this is what it looks like without shoes. And then this is what it looks like with shoes. So it almost works without me having to do anything to it, without hemming it. But it just drags a little bit on the ground, and that's going to get dirty, and worse, you don't want to accidentally trip when you're walking down the aisle, because that's like the worst fear, right? So I'm just going to do like a little inch folded hem, and I'm not going to cut anything away, and I think that should be fine. The under dress I think is really fine. I might flip it up and just do like a tiny little hem, but really the under is fine. It's just really the over that's a little bit longer that I need to hem. To determine how much you need to do, make sure you're standing up really straight. You can kind of eyeball it like I am doing here, or you could have a friend come and hold up a tape measure or a stick. I also have this fun thing here which helps you measure hems, but you know, trying to get it off the floor is not very helpful. But this is the idea of what we're gonna do. Alright, so these are the shoes that I'm wearing. They are just a nice nude platform, small platform with a nice heel. Would highly recommend not too much of a heel, and the platform's really nice because remember, you're bridesmaids, you're standing throughout the entire ceremony. You don't want to be uncomfortable. You are wearing these shoes all day. It is a long day. You are going to be running around, taking pictures, having fun, and the last thing you want to do is have your feet hurt. So highly recommend pretty but comfortable bridesmaid shoes. I have worn these to 2 weddings. These are my official bridesmaiding shoes, and I love them. Highly recommend. So as I got down here and I was fluffing up these things, thinking, okay, I'm going to have 2 layers to do. I don't. There's actually a third somehow. So there's like a slip, an underskirt, and then the chiffon overskirt. So I'm gonna do 3 hems now. You always want to make sure that the underskirts are shorter than your outer skirt. You want this to be the longest. You do not want this to show. So make sure that happens. I'm going to start pinning this one. So I'm going to kind of peel back all the rest, and we're going to start from the inside and work our way out. I'm going to do a very, very simple hem. Now this is on the inside. This is the slip. So this is like the one that's finished where you're looking at it. So on the outside, technically, like the tiny little hem that's here is actually folded to the outside. So we're going to go the opposite direction with this hem. Then we're going to go for the rest of them. So for this one, we are going to fold them up. Well, and we'll fold all the other ones up too, but this one is just finished slightly different. Now I am going to do like 1 finger width. Now I know 2 finger, like my 2 fingers right here, these 2, that is 1 inch. I just know that because I use myself as a human measuring stick. Well, this is like the inside slip, so it really doesn't matter how tall this one is. I'm probably going to go ahead and just do this as 1 inch. So I definitely don't trip on it. I'll do that one probably like 1, and then the chiffon I'll probably, or just 1 finger, so like ½ inch on the other underskirt, and then I'll do the inch, just 1 inch on the chiffon. Alright, let's start pinning. Okay, and one of the fun things as well here is that this is a little bit on a curve. So at some point you're going to have to like do a little tuck at some point. I recommend doing a little tuck like on the seams here, where you're essentially going to have to like overlap the hem fabric a little bit to get it to sit right. Lucky you cannot step on this dress. I know, usually I'm okay with you on different patterns and fabric, but not this one, okay dear? So let's just go ahead and start in the middle. Lucky, I love you. You cannot sit on this dress. So I like to go ahead and we'll just start pinning. Pin 1 in the middle, and then go to the sides, and then pin like 1 inch there. An inch here. Right, and then we're going to kind of just nicely put up the rest of this. And we're going to have to kind of ease it around. This is like a nice little slippery chiffon, so it's going to be annoying. Oh, this isn't the chiffon, it's just slippery, like a little slippery satin situation. So remember how I said it's not going to like lay perfectly? Yeah, we're going to have to deal with that already. And remember, this is like the slip, this is like the underskirt's underskirt. So if you have to put like a little tuck like that in it, it's not the end of the world. No one is going to know.
As you can see here, I am not cutting away any fabric. I am simply just pinning it up. I'm folding it and pinning it. Thankfully, all of the edges already were finished already. So to a double folded hem, which is folding the fabric twice usually, and that way it hides the raw edge, I didn't have to do a double fold to have a double folded hem. I could just do a single fold and it would be a double fold already because of the way that this was finished with the serging machine. But sometimes I did have to do a double fold just for length, and that's what I'm doing here is I'm still folding it twice because of the length, and I just wanted to, well, it needed to be shorter. So as you can see, I am also not cutting any of the fabric because once you cut it, you can't put it back without a line of stitching being visible. So be very, very sure before you cut anything. Here, I am not cutting anything.
Now we have to think about what thread we're going to use to hem the dress. Now I've gone through and I've compared a lot of my different threads here, and I have decided that this one is the best, that it is closest to the desert coral that we want. Now you might be looking at that and say, that doesn't match, oh no! But just hold on, I'll show you how it actually is okay. So I have these two threads that I am considering for using to hem my dress, and they're pretty similar. This one I think might match a little bit better. This one's a little darker. It looks like this one actually matches perhaps down here a little bit better. If you look really close, you'll see, let me know, the person who originally hemmed the bottom part here, they did not switch threads. They just used the thread that they had been using for the top part here. But this one I think blends in really, really well. You want to usually have thread that's just a smidge darker than your fabric, or at least when you're holding it up, because once you unspool it, the thread is so thin that it looks lighter. So when it's all spooled up, it looks a little bit darker. So if you're, you know, trying to decide between a couple shades, sometimes it's better to go with darker. This one I think is just a little bit too purpley. I think this one's more of the desert coral that we're going for. But I would always tend to go for a little bit of a darker thread than a lighter thread. I think it just blends in better.
Make sure your bobbin is the same color as your top thread, because that is just the best sewing practice. So go ahead and wind the bobbin with the thread that you have chosen.
So pinning those layers took way more time than I actually thought that it would. Lucky. So pinning all those layers took way more time than I actually thought it would, so I ran out of time last night. But now I am back in my sewing room to hem the rest of this dress fully pinned right now. So I'm going to start with the innermost layer and then work my way out. I have my sewing machine at 2.5 tension, and I'm going to use that for the first two, and then I might loosen it and do a lesser tension on the chiffon because you don't want the chiffon to pull. It's really difficult just in general to work with chiffon. So, okay, now with everything pinned, try the dress back on with your shoes and see how the length works. Walk around in it very carefully because it's full of pins, so you don't want to accidentally stick yourself. But this, I do believe, is the perfect length now for my dress. Now the only thing that I can see being a little bit of a problem is right here in the back. right here in the very center back, you can actually see the under fabric. So that's a no-no. So I think I didn't pin that one up enough, or I didn't do something quite right for like an inch right there in the tiniest bit of the back. Sometimes it can be a little hard in the back, especially if you have a derriere, because it doesn't always hang even. So you might put things up even. Like you might do the hem. It's like, oh well, I did an inch all the way around. Great. I don't have like anything bulging out here. You know, I'm not to that stage in my life yet where I am preggo, but I do have a butt, so I'm going to have to adjust the back a little bit right here. I don't want that peeking out. So I'm going to actually lower the chiffon a little bit. But everywhere else, I think is good. And I'm not tripping over it. We're not having any problems. It, you know, barely kisses the ground, which is a beautiful length. We don't want to actually, like, you know, show off a bunch of ankle. These are to the ground bridesmaids dresses. But yeah, I'm going to have to repin that part.
Here we see the treble area. It is almost exactly in the center back, and the lining is just peeping out a little bit too much. So I went ahead and I pulled all of the fabric flat again to see where I had gone wrong. So I ended up pinning, well, I unpinned everything and then repinned that section. I pinned the chiffon not as much. I didn't pin it up as much. I left it down a little bit more, and I pinned the lining up a little bit more. So compensated both ways to find a happy medium.
Okay, so we made alterations to the back pinning. So much better to do it with pins than with thread and stitches, especially with the chiffon. Okay, let's hope. Yes. Okay. I think it's good, and I think I'm ready to sew. Alright, now it's time to sew. I'm going to start with the inside most slip layer and then work my way out to the chiffon. I have my sewing machine at a 2.5 tension, very normal tension. I'm going to use that on the under two sides. The chiffon, I'm probably going to have it be not as tight stitch because chiffon will pull easier, and I just think that that is going to be better for it. But yeah, let's get sewing.
Before I knew it, it was time for the big day. We got our hair and our makeup done. We steamed our dresses, and then it was time. It was time for the wedding. We took a lot of beautiful pictures all around the venue. We made a great bridal party, if I may say so myself, and it was absolutely wonderful to get to see my friend marry the love of her life. Now, if you are that sewing and crafting friend who hemmed her own bridesmaid dress, bring that thread that you used to hem, because something will go wrong and you will need to use it. So one of the other bridesmaids, she went to a alterations place to have cups put in her dress, and they only anchored them at 3 points, so they were gaping kind of weird and didn't sit right. So I ended up helping whip stitch in a few more points of contact into her dress for her. So always bring that. I also ended up using some white thread for the bride's dress because we couldn't find one of her bustle loops for the reception. So I ended up sewing that one bustle point. Therefore, if you are the sewing and crafting friend, bring the thread that you used for your bridesmaid dress and bring white thread for the bride. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. I am Marie of Historical Belle, and I hope to see you again. Bye.